Elisa Lam did not scream. There is no recording of panic, no final phone call, no desperate message sent into the void. What the world was left with instead was silence, in a 4-minute elevator video that would haunt millions of people for years. On February 19, 2013, the Los Angeles Police Department released surveillance footage taken from inside an elevator at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. The video was grainy, distorted, and strangely edited, with timestamps missing and frames slowed. At first glance, it looked ordinary, but the longer people watched, the more unsettling it became. A young woman steps into the elevator alone. She presses multiple buttons. She waits. The doors refuse to close. She leans forward, peering into the hallway. Then suddenly she jerks backward, pressing herself into the corner of the elevator as if someone, or something, has startled her. She hides. She peeks again. She steps out, then back in. Her hands begin to move in strange, deliberate gestures, fingers splayed, arms floating unnaturally through the air. She appears to be talking, arguing, pleading, but no one else is visible. This was the last known footage of Elisa Lam alive. She was 21 years old, and her death would become one of the most disturbing and debated mysteries in modern American history. Elisa Lam was born in Vancouver, Canada, to loving parents who described her as intelligent, introspective, and deeply thoughtful. She was a university student with a passion for writing, photography, and fashion. Elisa kept a personal blog where she openly discussed her struggles with depression and bipolar disorder. Her writing was honest, vulnerable, and often painfully self-aware. She spoke about feeling lost, overwhelmed, and afraid of failing, but she also wrote about hope, growth, and self-discovery. In January of 2013, Elisa decided to take a solo trip down the west coast of the United States. It was meant to be a personal journey, a way to clear her mind and reconnect with herself. She planned to visit San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Cruz, and San Francisco. Her parents were nervous, but they agreed, on one condition. Elisa had to check in with them every single day. At first, she did exactly that. She called, she messaged, she sent photos. Everything seemed fine. Then she arrived in Los Angeles. Elisa checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 26, 2013. At the time, she had no idea where she was staying. The Cecil Hotel opened in 1927 and was once considered elegant. But over the decades, it became infamous. The building had a long, dark history, dozens of deaths, suicides, and violent crimes. Serial killers had stayed there. People jumped from its windows. Others vanished inside its walls. By 2013, part of the Cecil had been rebranded as a budget hostel, marketed to young travelers. Elisa was placed in a shared room with several other women. Almost immediately, things began to feel off. Her roommates complained to hotel staff that Elisa was behaving strangely. She would lock the door, hide notes, and act erratically. They felt uncomfortable and requested to be moved. Instead, hotel management moved Elisa into a private room. That decision would be the last time anyone officially intervened. On January 31st, Elisa was supposed to check out of the hotel. She never did. That day, Elisa failed to contact her parents. At first, they assumed she was busy. Then they grew concerned. By the next day, panic set in. Elisa Lam was reported missing. The LAPD launched an investigation. Officers searched her room. Her belongings were still there. Her phone, her laptop, her clothes. No signs of violence. No signs of forced entry. They reviewed keycard records. Nothing suspicious. They searched stairwells, hallways, and common areas. Search dogs were brought in. The dogs tracked her scent to a window, then stopped. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. Then the elevator footage was released. The internet became obsessed. People watched it again and again, slowing it down, analyzing every movement. Some believed Elisa was hiding from someone. Others thought she was experiencing a psychotic episode. Some claimed they could see shadowy figures just outside the elevator doors. The video was terrifying not because of what it showed, but because of what it didn't. No attacker, no explanation, just fear. As days turned into weeks, the case grew colder. Then guests at the Cecil Hotel began complaining about something strange. The water pressure was low. The water tasted odd. It was dark, cloudy. On February 19th, a maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez was sent to the rooftop to check the water tanks. There were 4 massive tanks that supplied water to the entire hotel. He climbed the ladder. He opened the hatch. And inside, floating face up in the water, was Elisa Lam. Her body had been there for nearly 3 weeks. She had been above everyone the entire time. Guests had bathed in that water, drank it, used it. The horror was unimaginable. The rooftop was supposed to be locked, alarmed, secured. Yet Elisa had somehow reached it. Even more disturbing, the hatch to the tank was reportedly closed when her body was discovered. How did it close? Elisa was 5'4". The tanks were enormous. There was no footage of her on the roof. No witnesses. She was found naked, with her clothes floating beside her. There were no signs of sexual assault, no defensive wounds, no clear trauma. The autopsy ruled her death an accidental drowning. The coroner cited bipolar disorder and suggested a manic episode, but that explanation left more questions than answers. How did she access the roof? How did she climb into the tank? Why didn't anyone hear her scream? Why was the elevator footage edited? Why did hotel staff insist the rooftop was locked? Why did the hotel's fire escape alarms never trigger? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, what was Elisa reacting to in that elevator? Some believe she suffered a mental health crisis. Others believe she was chased. Some believe the Cecil Hotel itself, its history, its darkness, played a role. There are those who believe Elisa Lam never intended to die. Her parents sued the hotel. The case was dismissed. The Cecil was later closed and rebranded. New paint, new name, same building, same unanswered questions. Years later, people still watch the footage late at night, still pause it frame by frame, still search for something, anything, that explains what happened in those final moments. Because deep down, something doesn't sit right. The doors closed, the water tank was sealed, but the mystery never was. And somewhere in that building, in the hum of old pipes and empty hallways, the story of Elisa Lam still lingers, waiting, unfinished.